Patrick settled into his cherished chair, his loyal companion for half a decade now. A Christmas present from his ex-wife, it initially puzzled him. Who gives a recliner for Christmas? Yet, she understood him well, recognizing its perfect fit for him, despite others finding it odd. Its comfort seemed tailor-made, with cup holders for his drinks and Bluetooth speakers enveloping him in sound. Many nights, he drifted off with his feet up. This chair was his sole relic from the past. His daughter resided with his ex, in the house he once called home, caring for the dog he gifted her, though he did most of the care. His ex merely cuddled the pet, he sighed, facing his first solitary Christmas, just him and his chair. His phone interrupted his thoughts. Glancing at the clock, he debated answering. Should he let it ring, or succumb to his curiosity? It was a tempting itch to scratch. "Hey, Kendra," he greeted as he answered the phone. "Hey, Patty," she responded, her voice carrying the familiar melancholy mingled with warmth. A pause lingered, heavy with 15 years of shared memories, both joyous and sorrowful. Patrick broke it, surprising himself with his next words this year. "Why not?" she murmured softly. "We vowed to always be the first to wish each other Merry Christmas, no matter what. Remember?" He grinned, noting his commitment to keeping promises. "True, Patrick, my bad," she admitted, offering him a chance to forgive her. This time, she initiated the conversation. "So, any plans for tomorrow?" "Not much, besides giving Jessie her gift when you drop her off and having dinner at my folks'. How about you?" "Nothing much," she replied, though they both knew otherwise. Patrick debated leaving it unexplored, but curiosity got the better of him. "So you're just letting what's-his-name slide?" he inquired, the bitterness evident in his tone. Even mentioning the man's name gave him heartburn. "You mean Sean?" she replied, catching his implied jab. "Yeah, Sean. Well, if you really want to know, we're heading to his folks' place after dropping off Jessie." "How original," Patrick grumbled, unaware of the tear trickling down Kendra's cheek. He couldn't see it, not through the phone, nor would he likely notice if she stood before him. "I don't get why you're so mad. You're indifferent, remember? You're the one who ended things," she retorted, sparking laughter from him. Her knack for flipping situations amused him. "What's amusing?" she snapped. "Because you're so full of it, Kendra." "That's why, I'm full of it." "Yeah," he replied, a hint of surprise lingering. "So, I'm the one who ended things. What about the 2-year affair? All those times you were with me, watching movies, while texting him? That weekend you flew out to care for your sick mother, I see through it," she yelled into the phone, cutting through his accusations. She halted him for a reason. He had more to say. "Did you truly understand, Kendra?" Her voice trembled with tears. Each word seemed a battle against a scream. "Yes, I messed up, Patty. I messed up bad. I was selfish, took you for granted, tore our family apart. I see it now. Every day I face a daughter who despises me. Wander through a house missing you, and every night, no, you don't. Don't you dare." Patrick's composure slipped despite his efforts. Why couldn't he remain calm? Why did she still have this effect on him? "What do I dare not? Tell me, Patty. Tell me the truth, why not?" "Can't handle the truth," she hoped for a smile, a chuckle, anything to soften him. A few good men held a special place for them. They bonded over it on their first date and made love until the credits rolled on their second. But instead of thawing, it only reminded Patrick of what she'd sacrificed for an online stranger. "I'm okay with the truth. It just stings when I have to dig for it because my wife can't stop lying," he retorted. Ouch, that hit her hard. Tears flowed freely now. One sob led to another. Patrick empathized with her pain without condoning her actions. Even after a year apart, his heart still echoed hers. He could picture her in their old living room. She'd be wearing her favorite worn robe, a comfort from her mother. It draped over her boxers and t-shirt, a shared joke between them. Whenever he traveled for work, she'd wear his boxers to bed, a symbol of his protection. I bet she wasn't wearing his boxers that weekend with that jerk. He probably wasn't wearing anything at all, he remarked. "I'm so sorry, Patty, she cried. How many times do I have to say it? How long until you forgive me? I'll forgive you when I stop loving you, Kendra. Maybe then the pain will fade. Maybe the ache in my chest will ease. Maybe I can sleep without seeing that message where you professed love for him. Now it might be Patrick's turn. His anguish overflowed. A sob, louder than hers, escaped him. He covered his eyes, trying to stem the tears. Kendra's heart broke for him. She longed to embrace him, to kiss his forehead. To hold him close as his tears soaked her shirt. Patty, cut it out, he suddenly bellowed into the phone. She fell silent, remembering she couldn't console him after causing him pain. It was a bitter truth, but their reality. Patrick, she ventured cautiously, how long will you keep this up? You're not just punishing me, you're hurting Jesse and yourself. I know you're angry. I understand. But that's why we need counseling. Maybe if, but you're with him, Kendra, he interjected, his voice oddly serene. She hesitated briefly. You mentioned meeting his parents. That's a big step in any relationship. How soon after we split did you run to him? A week? A month? He paused, and she didn't rush to break the silence because they both knew she went to see him the very next night. She dropped Jesse off at his place, wanting father-daughter time. She even praised herself for not keeping a child from her father. Giving a sanctimonious speech, continuing, he expressed, I can't fathom your actions. After everything we've endured, how could you disregard us and me so easily? We've shared 12 years of marriage, raising our 9-year-old daughter together. You stood by me at my brother's funeral, supporting me through his line-of-duty death. I held you at your mother's funeral, comforting you as she succumbed to cancer. After all this, you not only betray me but rush to him right after we split, and now you're suggesting family counseling. Screw you, Kendra. Kendra's shriek had a different impact on Patrick this time. Yes, she was selfish, it was no secret. Patrick loved her more than she loved him. But it didn't mean she didn't love him. Their marriage often operated under happy wife, happy life, a realization dawning too late. Patrick was taught to prioritize his wife above all else. He prided himself on his decency. He remained faithful and never raised a hand to her. Even in arguments, he'd swiftly apologize, regardless of fault. After all, if he hurt her, it was enough. Was this the ideal behavior for a married man? Absolutely. Every man should prioritize his wife as if she were the only woman in the world. Yet, Patrick lacked balance. He neglected his own needs and desires. If she wanted something reasonable within their means, she got it. Whatever he desired, he always acquiesced. Seeing her smile was reward enough for his sacrifices, but when one person's needs consistently take precedence, a pattern emerges. It becomes the norm, accepted as the way things should be. Any deviation is seen as abnormal and therefore incorrect. When his brother passed away, Kendra stood by him. She attended the funeral, shared his grief, and genuinely empathized with her husband. That's what a devoted wife does. However, Patrick sank into a depth of despair she couldn't comprehend, especially after losing her own mother to cancer. It was tough. She mourned. She missed her mom daily, yet she soldiered on. But there's a distinction between a slow, inevitable loss and a sudden, tragic one, dying for something more than just fulfilling a duty. His brother served as a cop, rescuing a woman from a burning car and staying with her until she was safe. He intervened to save a battered mother from her abusive spouse and even ensured his neighbor's safety by driving her to work daily. Tragically, he lost his life during a routine traffic stop for a minor violation. If his brother, who had done so much good, could meet such an end, what hope did he, a mere office worker, have? His greatest contribution to the world was recycling. The loss of his brother shook Patrick to his core. It wasn't just about losing a sibling, he saw his own mortality in that casket. If anyone deserved to die, he believed it should have been him, not the hero admired by many. If anyone needed therapy, it was Patrick, yet he resisted. Instead, he wallowed in his depression, silently shedding the tears of his soul. Kendra couldn't comprehend. He wouldn't open up to her. What he craved from her was something he couldn't articulate. He didn't need her to fix him or offer a quick solution to his guilt over surviving. He simply craved her presence, her unwavering support, even when circumstances made it difficult. However, the dynamic they established early on diminished his emotional needs. He settled into the seat behind her, overwhelmed by sadness, grief, and thoughts of his own mortality, but he dwelled on it for too long. He needed a reality check. Despite having a loving family, it wasn't enough to pull him from his despair. He yearned for more than familial love. He needed this time to focus solely on himself. The more distressed she became, the more he withdrew. And then Sean entered the picture. They connected in a chat room, though not the innocent kind for sharing recipes or DIY tips. She sought validation of her attractiveness, and she found it. Of course, she had no intention of cheating. Just exchanging a few playful texts, perhaps sharing a couple of pictures. "You're stunning," he messaged her. The photo she sent wasn't particularly flattering, yet he praised her as if she were a supermodel on the catwalk. From then on, it became routine. Minor flirtations, more pictures, more compliments. Then came a bikini photo, giggles, more pictures, this time a bit more candid. But that was only the beginning. Honestly, if it were just that, she could have stopped at any moment. But it was those phone calls that captivated her. Those stolen intimate moments in her day, hearing his voice, his laughter, his breath. He ceased being just an anonymous online flirt. He became a genuine person, a witty, caring man who enjoyed her company. He always made her smile, and when she vented about her husband, he was there to lend an ear and offer comfort. He prioritized her, just like Patrick once did. This recent 3-day weekend, built on a colossal lie, marked the final chapter of her marriage. Aware of her mother's cancer diagnosis, he assumed the worst when Kendra abruptly left to visit her. Sensing his wife's pain, or at least the pain she should have felt, jolted him from his despondency, albeit temporarily. He believed she needed him, so he hastily attempted to purchase 2 plane tickets to join her there. He and Jessie were poised to offer support during her ordeal, yet she adamantly refused. In fact, she uttered the strangest words, "This is something I must face alone." Who chooses solitude in such moments? Who wouldn't desire their spouse's presence, even if only for moral support? However, when her mother passed away, did she require his comfort then? That marked the genesis of his suspicions. He started to scrutinize her phone habits, noting its constant presence, even in the bathroom. He observed how she positioned the phone face down, turned it away when texting, or occasionally left the room when it rang, and then, one day, she accidentally left it at home. Intrigued, he attempted to unlock it, only to discover she had changed the password. Previously, it had been her common 4-digit code for most accounts, debit cards, credit cards, banking, voicemail, but not anymore. As she hurried back in a panic to retrieve it, alarm bells rang loudly. The fear in her eyes almost served as a confession. But he needed concrete evidence, so he observed her closely, feigning ignorance. He waited until he saw her unlock it one day. The new code consisted of 4 digits unfamiliar to him, so he repeated it to himself until memorized. Later, he learned it matched Sean's birthday. Patrick glanced at the wall clock. It read 12:15. Christmas had officially arrived. "Well, it's Christmas now, Kendra," he remarked, feeling drained after their brief exchange. She sniffled. "Yes, I suppose it is." Both seemed hesitant to conclude the conversation, a reflection of their overall situation, still apart, yet neither filing for divorce. Despite her plans to meet Sean's parents today, she couldn't muster the courage to initiate the process. Part of her, though aware it was a long shot, clung to hope for a Christmas miracle. She longed for Patrick to declare he couldn't bear to be without her and was returning to her. If he did, she would willingly sever ties with Sean. Unfortunately, she failed to realize that this very mindset hindered any chance of a miracle. She overlooked how her reluctance to prioritize Patrick pushed him further away. They reached a stalemate. Patrick's love for his wife persisted. Despite the struggle, her betrayal still stung, yet it no longer consumed him as before. Once, thoughts of her and those texts dominated every moment, but lately, he found himself going days without dwelling on it. While today stood as an exception, soon it would be weeks, until she became merely the mother of his child, a distant acquaintance. This limbo wouldn't endure forever. "Merry Christmas," Kendra, Patrick greeted, genuinely meaning it. I hope you find what you're searching for, she sighed sadly. Her Christmas miracle wouldn't materialize this year, perhaps next year. Merry Christmas, Patrick, she choked out, I love you. She understood he wouldn't reciprocate, even if he felt it. She yearned for those words to tumble from his lips. No matter how often Sean uttered them, it paled in comparison. Patrick had been her first love, her closest companion, her soulmate. Truly, she had lost him. The sound of the call ending caused Kendra to break down once more. She would give anything to rewind time to 5 Christmases ago, the moment she had given him that chair. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please subscribe to the channel for new stories.